Hello and welcome back to what's going on here? Oh, this is part B of episode 33 of the Country Bumpkin Creates podcast. This part is going to be, there's no knitting, no fibre, well, there will be cotton. This is going to be predominantly sewing, like garment sewing, quilting, embroidery. I think that's all I've got to talk to you about in this half. Let's get some show notes. So, what are we going to do? So, first thing I'm going to talk to you about is what I'm wearing. This is a dress. You won't see it all. It is just a basic, like, shift dress. And it is the Maya dress by Marilla Walker. So it is this view here. So this pattern comes with 5 different options. So it is the Maya dress and top pattern by Marilla Walker. You can find her on, well, her shop is on Etsy, and you can buy PDF or paper versions of her patterns. So that's what this is, but this includes facings. I don't like facings, so what I do is I use bias binding. So I just use bias binding around the neck and the sleeves. It's such a simple dress. It's literally a back and a front. If you do this one, I don't do the pockets. It's because I'm short. I'm 5'2", so it comes down sort of to my knees. I've got the top version here to show you. Everything I'm going to show you has not been ironed. If I had stopped to iron everything, I would never have got going again. So this has literally just been washed because I wore it to a barbecue the other night, or I wore it to meet friends the other night, and one of them spilt beer all down my back, so I had to wash it, which was most annoying because it was literally only on for like an hour. I wouldn't have washed it, but when she gave me a hug goodbye, she had a glass of beer in her hand and it all went down my back. So this again is the top version. Quite size inclusive. This is quite large on me. Goes up to from a 31.5-inch bust to a 48-inch bust. So there's 10 sizes. Great for light to medium weight woven fabric. Really simple instructions. It is literally, if you, obviously the button front one is a bit different, but if you're just making the normal, so I do view, for the dress I do view D, so there's, without the facings, it's literally a front and a back. Without the facings and the pockets, so it is literally front and back. And again for the top, it's literally a front and a back, because I do the same with the top. I do have some with the facings on, but when I did make these early on into my sewing journey as well, so when I added the facings, you have to then sew the facings down, and the facings are like this wide inside. I haven't stitched them very well on the 2 others that I've got that I did the facings on, so I'm a bit hasty when I sew, and I'll just want to get stuff done. I'm learning to take my time more now than I did to start with. So again, I've done the bias binding around the arms and the neck on this one. This is like, I think it's a linen cotton mix. This one is 100% cotton. we've got a place they've got 3 stores in Devon and Cornwall called Traeger Mills. And if you've ever been on holiday to Devon, it's somewhere you've got to go. Um, it's a most random store. And it's one of those shops. It's got everything, and it used to be fairly cheap, but it's not so cheap now. But they're like massive stores, and they've got a department for everything. And one of their departments is fabric. So cotton is like £3 a meter. You can't go wrong there. I haven't been for a while, so it has probably gone up now. But so a lot of like my early fabrics came from Traeger. This may well have been Traeger. This may well have been somewhere that I found it cheap. We've also got a place in, I think it's Tiverton, that are a fabric retailer. I don't know whether they're a manufacturer or a retailer or what. I don't know what they are, but they've got a factory shop that is full of all different, and they stock Liberty and stuff like that. So I keep saying to the girls we need to take a trip up there as well, because Soph and Rach are getting into dressmaking as well. And since I've done my room, I've got like quite a large cutting area now. We got 3 of the 4 cube Kallax. When we made this room into my craft room, my sewing room, I started looking on Pinterest for ideas. So one of the ideas was you get 3 4 cube Kallax. You put 1 on the end and then the other 2 go that way. So you can access all of the cubes. So you've got 12 cubes that you can then shovel your crap in. And Nigel put MDF on the top and the bottom, and I've got wheels on the bottom as well, so I can move it around. I can turn it. So because this room, when Nigel's girls come to stay, one of them sleeps in here on a inflatable bed, so I can turn it around and they've got room then. Yeah. So where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so Rach and Sophie have both been over and used my cutting table. So it's quite nice. We have like a sewing. Last time Soph's oldest daughter has finished her GCSEs now. She's learning to crochet, or she's really good with crochet now. So Soph was in here cutting fabric. Rach and Rem were in the living room cutting out fabric. Cutting out fabric. I lied. They were in the living room having crochet lesson. I did us a nice lunch. We went into town for coffee and fabric buying, which I'll show you in a minute. Oh, I do love a Diet Coke. Yeah, so that was really nice. So that's the first one. And when we went, we've got a really good fabric shop in Tavi called So Much More, MOOR. The lovely Jess. Most of my fabric and patterns are now come from Jess. She does these great project boxes, so it includes the pattern, enough fabric to make the largest size, any notions you need like elastic, interfacing, anything like that, and matching reel of Gutermann thread. So check her out. So it's SEWMUCHMOOR.co.uk. Hang on, there we go, we've got a bag there. Talking of thread. So yeah, so this is the thread I use. It's Gutermann. Focus. No, it's Gutermann, and it's the polyester, 100% recycled polyester. So 100 meters on one of them. which normally is enough to get you through a project. So when the girls came over last time, we went for coffee first and then we went to the fabric shop. So I picked up this, which is, oh goodness, is it a linen cotton mix? What does it say on the sewage? No, oh, that's annoying. I've got a feeling it was linen and cotton. Yeah, I think it was a linen cotton mix, looking at it. So I picked that up to make another one of these for when we go on holiday. I thought that'd be quite nice, you know, if we go out to dinner in the evening or something. Oh my god, now it's all coming apart. There we go. And because it's literally a front and a back, so you sew the shoulders and the sides and hem it, it can be literally a couple of hours and you're done. But it's that old thing of cutting it out, isn't it? At least the pattern's traced, so I just have to cut it out. Just have to lay it out, cut it. I've got to iron it, haven't you? So that's going to be another Maya dress. This has been in my fabric stash for ever and a day. And this, I don't know what, this might be a viscose. I think I got this from that shop I was talking about in Tiverton. So it's got like the darks, it's got these little cute little flowers on it, and then like dark and light splodges. It feels like a viscose. If I've got enough, then I'll make a dress, another Maya dress out of that. If not, I've definitely got enough to make the top, but I think I've got enough to make the dress there as well. So yeah, I've just been going like shopping my fabric stash really and seeing what I've got that I can make. That'll be nice for holiday. What should we talk about next? The next thing I made, I made this over, I think it was Easter bank holiday. It was, you know, we had like 600 bank holidays in April, didn't we? April and May. It might have been May bank holiday. Again, this needs a really good iron. This is the Marnie. Is it Marnie? Oh, it's SD. I'm sure it's Marnie. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, Marnie. This is the Marnie blouse by Tilly and the Buttons. This is the version I made. But I didn't do the ruffle around the collar. I just did the ruffle on the sleeves. I did the pin tucks here. It's got like a, I didn't do the pin tucks on the sleeve. And it's got like a fitted sleeve here, and then it goes out into like a bell sleeve. You can see it a bit better on that one. So there are my pin tucks, and they go different ways. So you've got some that go up, some that go down. Gets a bit lost in this fabric. It would be better in a plain fabric. And then I did the ruffles on the sleeve. It's supposed to have like a button closure at the back, but the neck is quite tight. So what I did was I just made some little straps and made it a tie neck, so it gave me a little bit more room in the neck, because it would have been strangulating me else. And again, this was a project box from Jess at So Much More. So there's my sleeve. It came with the elastic I needed for the sleeve. Did this have facings of it? No, it didn't. No facings, thank the Lord. So a little bit of gathering along the front. You gathered so you've got to gather Sleeve, didn't do the sleeve gathering brilliantly, but it's hidden by the ruffle anyway. Again, needs a really good iron. This is in a stretch viscose, so it does have a little bit of stretch to it, but not a lot. This I made before. Must have been Easter weekend, because I made this before we went to Amsterdam. So it must have been Easter weekend, because I wore it in Amsterdam. I took everything I wore on my top half in Amsterdam was handmade. I took 2 knitted jumpers, and I took 2 tops that I made. So yeah, that's the mine. It looks great with jeans. That's what I did it with. I wore it with some high-waisted jeans. Really comfy. Would I make another one? No, because there's plenty of other stuff that I want to make. Nothing against the pattern, but and also the new Tilly and the Buttons patterns are all coming out really size inclusive. So this is a UK 6 to a UK 34. So it goes up to from a 30-inch bust up into a 60-inch bust, which I think is brilliant. And to make, so it's got a dress version. I might make the dress version one day. So to make the blouse for 56-inch wide fabric, I can't remember what size I made. I think I made the size 8. 46-inch bust. I think I made the size 8. You needed 3.2 meters of fabric to make the dress. You need 3.5 meters, because obviously it's a bit longer. But if I made the dress, I don't think I wouldn't put the ruffle on the sleeve of the dress. I'd just have it as a plain dress. So yeah, that's that. Talking of Tilly and the Buttons, as soon as this pattern came out, I was on it. Because I was like, that is going to be perfect. What I do is I trace my patterns onto Swedish tracing paper. Yeah, it doesn't say what size. I'm sure I made. And then they all get stored in these folders, because they fit perfectly into a magazine holder which goes on my shelf. So, and I put the pattern in there as well with the instructions. So the next thing I made, as soon as I saw this come out, and one of the fabrics that Jess put together for a project box, I was like, I need that. I need to make that for holiday. So this is a cord set. This is the SD, again from a size 6 to a 34. And I just thought that would be so perfect for holiday. It comes in long trousers, cropped trousers, and a shorts. You can also put patch pockets on the bum. I don't need any more focus on my arse, so I will not be putting pockets on mine. But I am going to make the shorts and the top as well. So I will show you what I made the. So I made, and literally this took me like I traced the pattern. Rach came on a Thursday and we went in and bought it on that Thursday morning. I traced the pattern when Rach left in the afternoon, cut it out, cut the tracing out. I think there wasn't much on the telly. So did I might have made the trousers on the Thursday night or the Friday night. May have been Friday evening I made the trousers. Elasticated waist. I made the cropped because I'm only short, so I made the crop trousers and they are perfect length for me. So that's the trousers. Really simple, really simple. I zigzagged all the seams, but we'll come on to that in a minute. Then this is the top, which does have a facing that goes all the way around, but doesn't get sewn down, so it only gets sewn on the actual edge. So I wasn't too, it was a bit fiddly, especially like around the curvy bits, like under the armhole. That's the front because that's got the bust darts in it. So bust darts there, here. So that's the SD cord. So I want to make another one, but I'm going to make the shorts version, short and top. And this is again a viscose, 100% viscose. No, this isn't. That one there is 100% viscose. This is on Jess's website. This is Amanda on navy. Also comes with that in as a black background, not navy. And this is Elodie on teal. And it's like these, I don't know what, they're like flower petals, but I'm not, on this like grey teal. So I got enough of that to make the shorts and another top. So that again needs cutting out. So when I said just now that I zigzagged all my edges, one of my lovely friends who I go to WI and quilt group with, I've joined a quilt group. Actually, I've joined 2 quilt groups. Does that make me a proper quilter now? No. I'm still very much in my learning phase of quilting. Where was I going with that? She messaged me and said, I have an overlocker that I don't use. Would you like it? Let me think about that for all of 0.0001 seconds. So I was like, yes, please. So it's a Benina something or other. Oh my God, it's going to be a game changer. My sister does a lot of dressmaking as well. And we keep saying, oh, we need to, go halves on an overlocker. We need to, every time they, Aldi do them now and again, or not Aldi, Lidl or Aldi do one now and again for like 200 quid. And every time they're there, I'm like, Sarah, should we get one? And we just never have. So yeah, I've been gifted an overlocker. It's like, oh my God. I've had a little play with it. I did find some stretch fabric that was in my stash. I don't know why I bought the stretch fabric. So, but it slightly scares me, stretch fabric, but I've got some in my stash. I'm going to cut it out. I really like Tilly and the Buttons. This is the first book that I have of hers. It's Love at First Stitch. And it's really basic, but the information all just trying to find, it is like a dressmaking class in a book. I'm just trying to work out where the patterns start. So the first 66 pages, so all of that is talking you through techniques, fabrics, tools that you'll need, how to lengthen patterns, how to shorten patterns, different stitch techniques, threading your machine, threading your, doing your bobbin, seam allowances, pinning, so I want to make these pajama trousers. I think are really cool. The only problem with the book is they're not that size inclusive. I don't even know what my body measurements are on my bottom half, to be honest. So hip measurement goes from 37.5 to 51.5. So it is quite, but the waist only goes up to 38 inches, 24 inches to 38 inches. So this was like this is in her early days of pattern writing. But she does talk about how to make things bigger, smaller, that sort of thing. So I think just some basic jammy trousers. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 patterns in this book. So there's a scarf, pajama, bottoms, a skirt, a dress, another skirt, a blouse, and another dress. Not all of it is my style, but for a learning resource, it is really good. Really good. That's quite cute. So then she does one that's stretch, and I got this on the Amazon warehouse, so it was cheaper than buying it brand new, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a bit bent on the corners. All the patterns are there, so your patterns are all in the back. And again, the first 51 pages are all techniques about sewing with stretch, cutting it out, testing fabrics, using an overlocker, using your normal sewing machine. You don't need an overlocker to knit so it's all about, so you've got fitting garments to you, how to measure, where to measure, so adjustments you can make, shorten, lengthen, full bust, broadening or narrowing the shoulders, preparing your fabric. Then you've got a whole chapter on stretch stitch school. So it goes through all of that, using your sewing machine, using an overlocker. But hell, people weren't wrong when they said about threading an overlocker. I opened luckily it came threaded, but it's still, I'll tell you how much it hasn't been, it's still got the original thread that she bought it with. So it's hardly been used. So what I thought would be a good starting, there's a skirt, like the first project's a skirt, but I'm not a skirt. It's not something that I would wear, so it would be pointless. But it's this raglan, like baseball, long sleeve base t-shirt. So I thought I'll give that a go. It goes up to a finished bust size of 45.5, and I'm a 44 bust, so it would just about fit me. but it gives you all the information on how to do the raglan sleeve, because I would really like to make my own like sweatshirts and stuff. Oh, so you can do a short sleeve version. I might do the short sleeve version first, but I just thought they're like, for the knowledge, for what you get in the book, they're well worth the money. Oh, going back to the SD, go back to the SD co-ord set. I bought some plain black viscose to make a pair of the trousers. Because then I can put it on with like just a white t-shirt, or I've got a black and white striped t-shirt or something like that, again for holiday. So you can't go wrong with like a pair of so Jess had this fairly cheap by the meter. Yeah, so that's that. Also for holiday, so another pattern company that Jess stocks is called the Friday Pattern Company, and they have this set called the Sagura. I don't know how you pronounce it. Sagura Aro. Anyway, it's the Friday Pattern Company, and again, size from extra small to 7XL. So size chart is bust from, what centimeters, 32-inch bust up to a 60-inch bust, and that's the schematic for it. So it's like a cropped top and trouser set. So it's an elastic waistband, pants and pullover top. They're American, so this is perfect outfit for road trips through the desert, sunset walks on the beach, or dancing the night away. The pants feature roomy pockets and a waistband with a drawstring. The top has a plunging V neckline that includes an optional tie closure. You can also wear the top backwards or forwards. So I didn't know what this was going to look like on me. I did look through the hashtag on Instagram, and I found quite a few gorgeous ladies with bigger bodies who had made this and were rocking it. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to make it. So again, I've traced the pattern, and because I didn't know if I was going to like it, how it would fit me, I'm going to use some fabric that I've got in stash, which is, it's like a woven, I'm not even sure what it is. It feels like a linen that's blowing out. It's more of a magenta colour. So it's 3 meters. I've got 3 meters of that. I'm hoping it's going to be enough. I'm going to have to shorten the trousers anyway, so it should be enough. But one of the versions that I saw on Instagram, a lady had made it in like a zebra print viscose, and I was like, I'm not really into animal print, but I was like, oh, that is bloody lovely. So I'm going to do like a toile. Is that how you pronounce it? Just to see what it feels like, how it sits on me. Again, I need to get my bum in gear. So yeah, that's that. So that's another thing I'm going to make for holiday. This is another finished object that I made. You may have seen, I may have shown this on a previous my knitting podcast. This is the sagebrush top, again by the Friday Pattern Company. It's gathered, again needs ironing. It's got a ruffle along the front with a gathered, I took this to Amsterdam as well, with like a puffy sleeve, tie back. Again, this is fabric from Jess. It's a cotton gingham winey colour. She does it in a variety of colours, gorgeous colours. So nice to work with. So that's that. This I would make again. When we were in the shop, when we were in Jess's shop, Remy saw it and was like, oh, I'm not sure if I like it or not. She's going into sixth form in September, so Soph's making her some clothes. So when we got back here, she tried mine on and it suited her so well. So I think she's gonna make one of them as well. Something else I want to make that I again got the fabric from Jess is another Marilla Walker pattern. So this, I'm sure I showed this on. I want to make this version. This is the, I can't see what it says. Oh, there we go. The Anning shirt dress. So it comes in this version with a V-neck, like a proper V-neck collar. This has got like a little stand-up collar. It's not, but it's only buttoned on the yoke, not all the way through. And I bought some beautiful double gauze with this gold. Feels like puffy paint, but it's not puffy paint. Gold on it. Again, I would like to make that for holiday, but I'm not gonna push myself too much for that. If it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done, because I need to trace the pattern and everything for that, and I haven't done that yet. Whilst they were here last week, we were talking about other stuff that I've made, and we were going through patterns, and I found this in my to be ironed pile. But when I'd done the binding on it, it was like one of my very early things of bias binding. I hadn't done it properly. So I pulled all the bias, I unpicked all the bias binding. This is the 100 Acts of Sewing. Her name is Sonia Phillip. Yeah, Sonia Phillip. It's just a simple dress. This is dress number 1. Again, comes in really good sizing, extra small to 4XL. Just a basic, like, you know, sleeveless top, really, tunic. But when I saw this fabric, this has got to be, I made it before Dad passed away. Dad was in the home. He went in the home 2016. So I possibly made it that year, because I remember him laughing at it. And I wore it in to see him. But I just love this fabric. These little tortoises. I just think it's so cool. So we were talking about, so I pulled this out of my like to be ironed pile. Realised the bias binding was naff on it. So like I say, unpicked the bias binding and need to redo the bias binding on it. So that won't take long. I've got some creamy coloured bias binding over there on my sewing rack. Yeah. So that's my tortoise dress. That is... So I would like to make a few more of them as well, because they're good layering pieces. I have lots of fabric here, but quite a bit of denim. What's that in there? Ooh. I've got lots of patterns cut out and I don't know what they are out of them are, so I need to go through all that. So that's that all I've got written on my SD Coord set. Yep, so I've got a fabric for the shorts and the top. Marnie, Sagebrush, Maya, dress number 1, Scarro, Annie. Yes. So we've covered all of the dressmaking. So I'm hoping I've got, so on, well, today's Thursday today, I've got quilt group tonight. I need to get my bumming gear and sort stuff out to take to that. tomorrow I'm working. Saturday morning we've got a like back to basics quilting session, or like a beginner's quilting session. So the quilt group I go to is called Goosey Quilters, because Tavistock, every year we have a goose fair. So we are Goosey Quilters. So I've got that on Saturday morning till 12. So Saturday afternoon, I think I'm going to cut everything out Saturday afternoon, I think. So I need to cut a Maya dress, the SD shorts and a top, and the SD trousers. And then I'm not working Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. So I think they're going to be sewing days. So I should get all 3 of those cracked in those days. So we could have another sewing podcast fairly soon. Anyway, that's not all the sewing we've been doing. So as I said, I'm going to quilt group. I've started quilting. I've always loved the idea of quilting. During lockdown, which seems absolute eons ago now, I got this book out of the library and then bought myself a copy. And it is like a workshop. So it takes you through step by step, and they even call them workshops. So I call them workshops. So this is Quilting Basics by Michael Caputo. I got this on eBay because it's not printed anymore. So your first project is a table runner. So I've made that, and it's on our underneath the TV cabinet. It's on top of that. Then the next project was a sashed 9-patch quilt, which I did, and that's on my footstool. That's not very good. It's not even, half of it's not even in a straight line. But I was learning. Then I started this, the half square triangles quilt, and I don't think I ever finished it. So that's what the quilt looks like. So that's as far as I got with this book, but I would like to do some more, because I think these are really cute, like little pincushions, apples and pears. So it's a pear and an apple pincushions. Well, and I thought they're quite nice gifts, aren't they? And then at Christmas I made the ladies some, in our advents I made a mug rug, which I did using foundation paper piecing, which is where you have a piece of paper, and on one side is like a template of where you would sew. It's all like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's all like a template, and you then put your fabric on the back, and then you sew on the line of what the template is, and then flip your fabric over, and then add another piece on the top, right sides together, sew on the next line, then flip that over, etc, etc. If you just like Google foundation paper piecing, it's probably in here. It's a very clever method, very clever. I wonder if there's a template in the back of here. So that's an example of a template. So you sew on these lines here. So you would sew down here, down. So they're all numbered. So you sew this line first, then you add another piece of fabric that covers that bit. So you have one bit of fabric, then you have another bit, like piece 2, right sides together. Sew on that line, then flip that over. So piece 2 is down here. Then you put piece 3 right sides together, so on that line, etc., etc. Which would then make this piece here. So yeah, so I made mug rugs for them for Christmas. Then I found Fat Quarter Shop on YouTube, and Kimberly is the owner of Fat Quarter Shop. They are a large quilting fabric, and they also do cross stitch supplies in Texas in America. And I started watching them. Kimberly does a live stream every Friday afternoon. It's morning for them, but it in the UK streams about 3 o'clock. I'm at work at that point, which is annoying. But I then catch up with it when either I get home or on the Saturday. And they did a couple of quilt-alongs, one of which was a new book that came out by Laurie Holt, who is a big quilt designer in the US, and it was called Scrappiness is Happiness, and it was basically quilts that use up any scraps. So when this is Laurie's fabric scrap bin. So when she's finished, or if she buys a fat quarter, she will cut it up into these different, so like a 1.5, a 2.5, a 3.5, 4.5, and a 6 inch or a 7 inch, 5, 3.5, 2.5, 1.5, and puts them in these bins. And this book uses a mix of all these different sizes, or they were cut, so the 5-inch square would be cut down to a 4.5, for example. So when this book came out, the Fat Quarter Shop, along with Laurie, it's finished now, but I'm so far behind. They doing a quilt along with every block in the book to make a sampler quilt. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 different quilts in this book. So each one gives you how to make one block of the quilt. So it gives you, I'm going to cover this section up. So here, so for making one block, you would need this much, this much, this much, this much. And very, very, very easy to follow instructions. And I will show you some of the blocks that I've made. So this one I had to get, so you can see I'm a very beginner. This doesn't line up very well in the corner, but once it's in a quilt, who's going to notice? My cutting isn't brilliant. So this is the fabric collection I'm using, is in here. And it is, so these are, it was a Fat Quarter bundle, and this is Laurie Holt fabric, and it's the Prairie, I'm sure it's Prairie, yeah, it says on the salvage. So it's by Riley Blake Designs, the fabric, that's who it's distributed by, but it's designed by Laurie Holt, and it's Prairie. So I can't remember how many fat quarters were in the bundle. I think 32. So this is just a sample of some of the blocks that I've made. So you can see as I'm progressing, they are getting better. I'm getting more precise with my cutting. This is a log cabin. This was the Santa hat. This is called Scrappy Strings, and it's done on a sewing interfacing. This is one of the bigger blocks. And each week, so you can go back onto, so on Laurie's YouTube channel, and she is Bee in My Bonnet. I'll just keep showing them. She also does video tutorials on how to make all of these blocks. That one, so I won't go through all of them because there's quite a few that I've made. This one took quite a while, but that's like the main center of the quilt. Two little diddy ones. I'm gonna get to the mushrooms. That one, pumpkin. This again was another big one, or fairly biggish one. That's really cool, that one. And my background is, it's a white with these swirls on it, so it's like a white on white, so it just gives it a bit. That's the first block I ever made out of this book, which was the bee. I was doing really well, like the first few weeks I kept up with it. So you did one block a week. Checkerboard block, again not straight. Oh, it is mushrooms. So did a diddy mushroom and a big mushroom. So yeah, so that was one of the quilt alongs that I started with Fat Quarter Shop, which is, you know, quite ambitious for a first one, really. But again, the instructions are really, really easy to follow. I did starch my fabric, which was a tip that I didn't to begin with, but it was a tip that I picked up from Kimberly, because it helps. It just helps keep your cutting and that neat and your sewing. I bought a 1/4 inch foot for my, I've got a Janome sewing machine, and I bought a 1/4 inch foot for it, but it always like went on the scrunt, and I was never sure that my seams were actually right. So then I bought some tape, and I got Nigel to, I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler, so that's why the cutting and that is quite difficult with me. But I don't know whether it's something to do with my wonky eyes or what. So I got Nigel to measure, and this tape, so this red line is your like center, and then these are 1/4 inch from that line. So I know if I'm sewing to that line, or if my stitching is on that line, I am 1/4, that my seam is 1/4 inch. Is that right? Does that sound right? Yeah. So he fixed that, put that onto my sewing machine for me, so I've got a big line of it from where my feed dogs are right to the end of my sewing machine, because he can do stuff in a straight line. The other sew along that I started, which again I'm really behind with, that Fat Quarter Shop put out free of charge. They have got so many free patterns on their website. They are so good at giving back to their customers. I have fallen in love with all things Laurie Holt, and they're doing a new Fat Quarter Club monthly Fat Quarter Club with Laurie's fabric. So I have treated myself and purchased that. So the next one, I don't know whether it's, I think it's every 2 years, they do something called Socialites, which is, again, a weekly quilt along. All free, all the patterns were free on their website. And on Kimberly's live stream on a Friday, throughout Socialites, she sewed every single one of the blocks. And the blocks came in 9-inch, 6-inch, or 3-inch. Holy moly, 3-inch blocks. You were like cutting stuff that was like 5/8 of an inch. Mental. I'm trying to sew that. No thanks. Oh, no. No. But again, you know, if you're new to quilting, or even if you're not, it's the videos are so good, and you do pick up, or I did as a new quilter, I've picked up a lot of tips and tricks from her. So they brought in this program called Socialites 2. They did one, there's still Socialites 1, again, all free patterns on their website. I can't remember how many blocks it was off the top of my head. I've got a feeling like 32 or something like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Says she. Greatest quilter in the world. So this is the fabric collection I'm using. I'll show you some blocks in a minute, you can see it better. This is the Country Rose. I'm sure that's what it's called. It's got selvage on it. Nope, I've cut the selvage off that one. So one with, there we go. This is a Moda fabric. Yeah, Country Rose by Layla Boutique. And I got this from, there's a quilt shop in, I think they're in Truro in Cornwall, called Sewing Studio, and they are a Moda supplier, or you know, a Moda stockist. So I got the Fat Quarter bundle from them, and these are some of the blocks that I've made. So the fabric is really pretty, really pretty. And she's just bringing out a new line of this was really, so these, another tip I got from Kimberly is half square triangle paper. So I'll get some out in a minute and I'll show you. So this is a square and a square, and then a 9 patch. This is a little butterfly. This hurt my brain, so you can see my points don't line up there. Flying geese as well. I use foundation paper for them now. This is another one. Again, I've starched all this fabric. This is a really pretty square. This flower basket, I think it was called. And that one. Flying geese, cornerstones, 4 patches. So triangles on a roll paper, and so these are, this is foundation paper, so this is a flying geese foundation paper, so you can see what I mean about, so you start off, so in these, this is a product made by Fat Quarter Shops. They've got a publishing arm called It's So Emma, so they give you instructions on what size what size fabrics to cut. So this is a unfinished 2 by 3.5 inch. Finished, by the time you take your seam allowances out, it's 1.5 by 3 inch block. And this was the size you needed for the Socialites, so that's why I got this size. And it gives you all the instructions on where you sew. So then you sew, and then you cut on these solid lines here, cut out, and you've got your flying geese. So clever. And they do the same. It's called triangles on a roll for half square triangles. So depending on if you needed like 4 half square triangles, you would cut 2 rectangles out, put them right sides together. Yeah, layer 2 fabrics right sides together, pin the paper on the top, and then you sew on these dotted lines in the direction that it's telling you. So if you're making 4, you can just and then you cut on these solid lines, and you have your half square triangles. They are a game changer for a beginner quilter. So easy. And these give you a 2-inch finished. So this would be a 2.5-inch unfinished. So easy. So easy with foundation paper. So that's where my quilting is at the moment. So I think it's not going to happen before I go on holiday. So this room is a disaster. I've got stuff everywhere because I've just recorded a knitting podcast too. So words. So I don't think I'm going to even get to them before we go on holiday. I may get 1 or 2 blocks done, possibly. So that's that. So then like embroidery, felt stuff, there's a lady called Corinne Lapierre, who you may well have heard of, who does like felt. She's based in Yorkshire, and she is like a felt artist, I would say. So, but she does these kits. So this is a beautiful one called, it's a wool mix felt applique hoop kit, tropical flowers. And it was so funny because I've got a lovely friend Trisha who lives in Ireland, and I bought her one of these kits for Christmas, and she bought me one. It's like, how bizarre. So this is another little one that I've done. This is one that I've done. I've got 3 or 4 others, including the one that Trisha gave me. But they're so cute. And she also does... Oh, goodness. Hold, please. When we just have a stitch, like a sewing chat evening at quilt group, I take this. So this is a Corinne Lapierre, and it is the 12 Days of Christmas felt decorations. So it's 13 modern folk designs, because you've got the partridge and the pear to go in the pear tree. So it's the 12 Days of Christmas ornaments, which I think are so cute. And it comes at, you can buy just the book, or you can buy a kit. So I bought the kit, so it came with all the a felt bundle for all that you need. So this was the felt bundle specifically for the 12 Days of Christmas. And how far have I got? I haven't even done one yet. So I've started it. But we've been really busy at quilt group. So I've done some embroidery on the wings, and the body. So you get all the templates in the book. I just dropped a bit. Oh, goodness, where did that go? Oh, there it is. So yeah, so that's what I take to Quilt Group when we haven't got anything on. But like I said, most days most weeks we meet every other week. Oh, and also we don't meet in August, which is quite nice. So, although I think we are, I can't remember. So yeah, so that sits in. I got these boxes. We went to me and Rach went to the Craft for Crafters at West Point in Exeter, and I got these boxes. There's 5, and it came in like a rack that they all sit in, and they're really useful for sticking stuff like that in. Another quilt group that I've joined is Southwest Quilters, so that covers Cornwall, Devon, Dorset, Somerset. I think that's it. I don't think it includes Gloucestershire. No, I think it's Dorset, Somerset, Devon and Cornwall. And they put on workshops. At Quilting Grip, we had this local lady called Louise Nichols. She's on Instagram, and she's on, I think she's Louise Nichols Textiles. Hang on. Oh, sure, I've got her. Yes. So she's louisenichols.com. This is a kit I bought. And she does embellished lino prints. And she does them as kits. So she came to Goosey Quilters one night, and we started a Christmas tree, which, as you can see, never got very far because I wasn't too sure. I'm not sure about that lace now, but that needs ironing down anyway. So she lino prints the background, and then you embellish it. Well, because she'd been to Goosey Quilters, when Southwest Quilters magazine came, after I joined earlier this year, you get a magazine quarterly. I saw that Louise was doing a workshop, an all-day workshop, locally in Oakhampton, which is about 20 minutes for me. And sort of it's the next market town between here and Exeter, really. And so I saw it. I said to Rach and Soph, do you fancy it? Soph couldn't make that day, unfortunately, so me and Rach went. So this is what I did at the workshop. So Louise brought loads of different prints, lino prints with her, and this will be made in, now it's finished, now I've finished all the embellishment, I need to make it into a wall hanging. So I did a little bit of felt for his tail with a button in it, spotty button. I did some embellishment along here in like a light green. I did some stitching along here. I did some couching along his back, and then I did some stitching along his belly and his ears. I did some couching along here in different colours, so it looked like a field of flowers. They're just so cute. And then after she'd been at Goosey Quilters, there's a place called Cowslip Workshops over in Cornwall, in Launceston, which again is about 25 minutes. They do a beautiful Christmas fair where they get lots of artisan makers come along, and Louise was there, so I bought this bird kit, which is still in its box. And then when we were at the workshop, I also picked up some more lino prints. So I got this reindeer. I got a pussycat. I got this beautiful tree. And this one was beautiful. And one of the ladies at the workshop started this one and used like beautiful, like lavender coloured felt for these bits. Lavender and purples. Nigel's just come in. And then it was just beautiful. I did take a picture of it because I was like, oh, I want to do that. So never one to not fall down a rabbit hole. When we got home from that, I needed some like embroidery stuff and some felt. So again, I went to Corinne's website and I ordered a wool felt mix of, they're 45% wool, 55% viscose, and they're 9-inch squares. So I got this pastel bundle, and then I got this English Garden bundle, which I thought would be beautiful for that other one. And then on eBay I bought some Perle cottons. I can't remember what weight these were, but so I just picked up, these were like packs which were perfect, of all different colours. And I've got lots of, from when I used to do cross stitching, I've got lots of the original embroidered, like, you know, the normal flosses. And then I got these as well on eBay. A job lot of Anchor Pearl Cotton in the size 8. And then we've got a scrap store in Tavi as well, so I got these at the scrap store. These are DMC size 12, again Perle cotton. And I got a bag of like 2, 4, 6, 8 colours for £2. Like bargain, I love that. And then Rach told me about this lady on Etsy who makes wool felt stuff. There we go, Hannah Morris. So she's Unique by Hannah on Etsy, and she sells like scrap boxes. So I got this box of mixed offcuts of wool felt. So it's 50 grams of offcuts for £4.95. That was perfect. So she does beautiful stuff. Hannah Morris. Oh, I probably should have shown that. Please don't use that code. Yeah, and she sent a little sticker. Today is a good day for a good day. So that's that. Whew. That's that. That's all the sewing, embroidery, quilting that's going on at the moment. I need to go now and get these uploaded, or probably won't get both uploaded tonight, but start editing anyway. The knitting portion. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that foray into my other making other than knitting and crochet. Yeah, if you enjoyed it, I will, when I've made some more stuff, I will do another one or tag it onto the end of a knitting podcast if there's not going to be too much. But that's a lot of talk. I've done like 3 hours of talking now. Right, I'm gonna go. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Insert B.